Antonio Brown wants to come back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Should the Steelers consider it? I'm going to tell you what I think here in just a second. Then also, some Steelers trade rumors are starting to heat up again after the Cam Hayward and Deontay Johnson injury news. And then I've got some takeaways I want to share with you guys about what I saw on the Week 1 film between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the San Francisco 49ers. It was a tough watch, but I think there's some important insights, so you want to stick around for that. And before we get into today's Steelers news and rumors coverage, make sure you subscribe to Steelers Talk today for our Monday Night Football watch party, Steelers versus Browns. We're going to be covering the entire game. We're going to have an hour-long pregame show starting at 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be doing live play-by-play of every single play, and then we got, of course, post-game coverage as well. So if you want the most extensive Steelers coverage on YouTube, 100% free, do me a favor, join our family and click that subscribe button. All right, so let's talk about Antonio Brown, who apparently wants to become a Steeler again. He posted this video on his Twitter, and he's saying, I want to come back. And, you know, he also posted another picture here of him with George Pickens, and he's just saying, hear me out. Like, I think that's the exact quote he put on his Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. He says, bring me back. And then also on his Twitter, he put out today, heard the Steelers need a wide receiver. Of course, referring to Deontay Johnson not being available here for this Week 2 matchup versus the Cleveland Browns with a hamstring injury. And let me just say this right now, man. There is no way the Steelers actually bring back Antonio Brown. That ship has sailed. That boat has been completely burnt to the ground. There's no way Antonio Brown is coming back. I love what Antonio did here in Pittsburgh, right? He was one of the best, if not the best Steelers player of all time. And if you look at the Steelers depth chart right now, with Deontay Johnson out of the picture at that Z position, you know, I think Antonio Brown is a perfect fit for what they need right now, right? If you could bring back a prime Antonio Brown without the baggage, that would be perfect, right? But that's not what we're dealing with here in Antonio Brown, somebody that has absolutely lost his mind over the last couple of years, and there's really no other way to put it, in my opinion, right? I really hope that he can get the help that he needs, but he's definitely somebody that is troubled at this point in his life. It's really sad to see. And from, like I said, from a football perspective, AB would be a great fit with Deontay Johnson out of the picture. It would be great to see the talents of George Pickens and Antonio Brown on the field at the same time. But he's just not worth the trouble whatsoever. I mean, this guy has been in so many different kinds of shenanigans over the last couple of years since he's left the organization. And I'm not even sure if he's still in shape. So there's no way I'm bringing back Antonio Brown. I don't care what he says on his Twitter. There's no way Mike Tomlin and GM Omar Khan are actually considering bringing back AB for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, what's your take on Antonio Brown here? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Is AB the best Steelers player of all time? Not necessarily the greatest, but the best player in Steelers history. Give me a yes or give me a no down there in the comments section, and this is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So whenever YouTube throws you an ad break here, it's just going to be in a couple of seconds. Take advantage of that time by giving me a yes or by giving me a no down there in the comments. All right, so now let's talk about some of the latest trade and free agency rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers, because after the Cam Hayward and Deontay Johnson injury news that came out this week, they've been starting to heat up a little bit. And let's start with the big one, which is J.J. Watt. Is he coming out of retirement to replace Cam Hayward and play ball with his brother again? And, this is kind of stoked today when J.J. went on the Pat McAfee show. And Pat really pushed him on whether or not he was going to come back and play specifically for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he kind of dodged the question. And some people are like, this guy's coming to Pittsburgh. And I'm just saying, I don't think so, man. I really don't think that this is going to be something that happens with J.J. Watt. He did say that he's enjoying retirement. He had his first broadcast this weekend with CBS. He actually did a pretty decent job. And I don't really think that he's all the way in shape to come in and play for the Pittsburgh Steelers and be a really effective NFL player. I'm sure that if he wanted to get in shape, he absolutely could, but I'm actually not sure that he's a great fit to replace Cam Hayward, who's over 300 pounds and a true defensive tackle. He's an absolute menace. And, although J.J. Watt's a big human being, he's not quite as big as Cam Hayward. I'm not sure he could play a true 3 technique. Now, if it was Larry Ogunjobi that got hurt, that plays more of a 3-4 defensive end role, then it would be a different story. I'd be like, if Omar Khan can get this guy out of retirement, 100% get that done. But I don't really think signing J.J. Watt at this point really helps the problem. I think Keanu Benton is going to do just fine in relief for Cam Hayward. So although I'd love to see J.J. Watt play right next to his brother on the Steelers defensive line, really don't think that's going to happen for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, coming up here on Steelers Talk, I'm going to be going over some other rumors that are going around Steelers Twitter right now, including whether or not the Steelers should trade Mason Rudolph, third-string quarterback, to the New York Jets after Aaron Rodgers' Achilles tear. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor at AG1. I drink AG1 literally every day, and I love it. Get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at drinkag1.com/chatsports. I gave AG1 a try because I wanted more sustained energy throughout my day and wanted a supplement that actually tastes great. Now, here are some of the benefits of using AG1 every day. It promotes your gut health, it supports your immunity, and it boosts your focus and energy. So no matter how busy your schedule gets, you can be absolutely sharp and ready to take on your day. I have AG1 in the morning, and it makes me feel ready to take on my day. AG1 combines all of your key health products in one convenient and tasty beverage. And in my line of work, guys, sometimes you have to put in those long hours. So AG1 helps me feel energized and sharp so I can be at my best no matter how busy my schedule gets. Covering my nutritional basis for the day literally couldn't be easier, which is why I trust AG1. I just mix 1 small scoop of AG1 with 12 ounces of water and drink it first thing each morning right when I wake up. Done, easy, simple. I also like that it costs less than $3 a day, which is pretty darn good if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality sourced ingredients, which is a win-win for you and your health. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplemental routine, then give AG1 then AG1 is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/chatsports. That's drinkag1.com/chatsports. Check it out. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Now let's discuss some other rumors going around Steelers Twitter right now, starting with Mason Rudolph going to the Jets. Now, this is something that would be an absolute classic Omar Khan move, right? Get your third-string quarterback and get a nice draft pick for him, right? And this, of course, comes after Aaron Rodgers suffers a season-ending Achilles tear on Monday Night Football versus the Buffalo Bills. His season is over, and that big question is, will the Jets stick with Zach Wilson? I mean, I'm not too sure about that, man, but here's the thing. Is Rudolph really the answer for the Jets at this point? He's only started a handful of games in his career, hasn't exactly been stellar. So do the Jets really see Mason as a true starter in this league? I highly doubt it at this point in Mason's career. Right now, he's a decent backup number 3 quarterback, right? I really don't see Mason as somebody that could be traded to another team and be seen as like a savior, as somebody that could get you to the playoffs here. And honestly, I probably like Zach Wilson even a little bit better than Mason Rudolph at this point in their careers. Of course, Zach Wilson has been in that system now all offseason. He understands the lingo and what they want to do. Mason hasn't been in that system. So if you trade for him, he's going to have to learn. He's going to have to completely try to ingest all of that information in such a short period of time. And then Zach Wilson is just so much more physically more talented than Mason Rudolph. So I really don't think it makes sense for the Jets. So I'm going to tell you that rumor is absolute garbage. Now let's move on to the next trade rumor, which is that because Cam Hayward is out now, it is the perfect time to trade for Aaron Donald. Now, it definitely sucks that Cam Hayward is going to be out here for what could be 8 weeks, half a season here. Reminds you a lot of what happened with TJ Watt last year, losing him for the early part of the season. I think TJ's probably a little bit more valuable than Cam, at least on the football field. But, Cam is an all-pro caliber player, in my opinion, mixed with the fact that he's the team captain and the heart and soul of this locker room. So his presence is definitely going to be missed. And for some people, they're like, if we bring in Aaron Donald, that's the spark that you're looking for. That's the spark that you want in a trade. And, even if it takes second-round compensation, third-round compensation, it's worth it for those people. But for me, it really isn't worth it right now. And I really don't think that the Rams are going to be trying to trade Donald, especially when they just beat the Seattle Seahawks on the road in week 1. Matthew Stafford played his balls off. And, I really don't think that Sean McVay and Les Snead are going to be looking to trade their superstar defensive tackle this early into the season. Now, if they start to slump and at the trade deadline, they feel like they have to get rid of him, maybe then. But right now, no, it's not going to happen. This rumor is absolute garbage as well. Don't buy into this one. The Steelers are going to stick with Keanu Benton, in my opinion. And then the final one here, this one's the worst one out of all of them. Trade for Chase Young to replace Cam Hayward? Are you joking me? No way. I mean, first of all, he's a defensive end. How are you expecting to trade for Chase Young? And that's supposed to magically fix the fact that you lost a over 300-pound defensive tackle. That idea makes absolutely zero sense. I've been saying this since the first time that these trade rumors have surfaced. That trading for Chase Young when you already have TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith on the edge and you're paying both of them big money, it doesn't make sense to trade for a guy like Chase Young who's had injury issues in the past, including this season. He hasn't played since week 1 of the preseason with a neck stinger. He didn't play in week 1, so he's constantly hurt. He hasn't really proven that he's the type of guy that the Commanders thought they were getting when they drafted him 2nd overall, and I really don't think it's worth the risk or the consideration, especially to replace Cam Hayward, who plays a completely different position. Now, coming up here, I'm going to be going over my week 1 film takeaways. I watched every single snap on the All-22 from the San Francisco 49er game. Going to be breaking down my thoughts with you guys on that. But if you want to see specific examples from the game, I have a big Twitter thread of all of the big plays from that game. If you want to check that out, it's actually the pinned tweet on my Twitter account. You can go check that out at Jack_Sperry. I got about like 15 plays that I break it down in detail. Offense, defense. I go over a lot of Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada's offense. So if you want to learn more about football this season, I'm going to be doing a full breakdown each and every week of the film for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So check me out at Jack_Sperry. Give me a follow. Retweet that pinned tweet so I can get out to as many Steelers fans as possible. Now, let's get into the takeaways here from the film. Number 1 is that Kenny Pickett's lack of growth here from year 1, at least for week 1. He didn't show much growth, okay? And he needs to pick things up in a major way here as the season goes on if he wants to solidify himself as the franchise QB here in Pittsburgh. And this really isn't a controversial statement, right? If he plays the way that he did against the San Francisco 49ers, he's not going to be a starting NFL quarterback for very long. The big question is he going to continue playing like that, or is he going to be playing more like he played towards the end of last season, towards this preseason? And I think the answer is the latter there. I do think he's going to get better as the season goes on, when he gets a little bit more balance between the passing and the run game, when he can do more play action, when he doesn't have to carry the offense and the defense knows that he's throwing the football pretty much from the word go. I think he was put in a really bad situation in week 1. The offense was not well prepared from a schematic standpoint, from a playmaking standpoint. Matt Canada was not good whatsoever. But you also have to put the blame on Kenny Pickett for his end of the deal. He said it himself. He was not good on Sunday. The accuracy, the execution was not up to par for a starting NFL quarterback, and that needs to improve if he's going to be the starting quarterback for this team for the years to come. My second takeaway from this week's game, Matt Canada's offense is just as bland and just as unimaginative as it was last season. I've been hearing all these pundits in Steelers Twitter and Steelers YouTube and all these different things, all these reporters saying, the offense looks so different. It's so much better than it was last year. Matt Canada's doing things so much different. It didn't look a whole lot different in week 1. That's for damn sure, man. This offense sucked in week 1, plain and simply. I mean, when you're calling 4 verticals in the low red zone on 4th and 4 at your own 8-yard line, I mean, seriously, my 6-year-old cousin that plays Madden on rookie mode could play better than that. He could tell you that that play call sucks, man. So overall, not a very good performance from Matt Canada. He needs to get things going, or else his ass is going to get fired here at the start of the 2023 season. Now, discuss it below. How many weeks do you give Matt Canada to figure this thing out? For me personally, I'm going to say 5 weeks leading up to the bye. If you're going into the bye week and this offense isn't getting the job done, cut the cord, get him out of here, install somebody else, use that bye week to kind of make that transition. And I really think that's going to be a big turning point in this season. So Matt Canada, you got 5 weeks, figure it the frick out. All right, now takeaway number 3. The Steelers defense needs to do a better job at communicating their roles within the system, particularly post-snap and particularly at the linebacker position. Of course, the Steelers, they instilled a brand new group of inside linebackers, completely different from last season, right? Cole Holcomb, Landon Roberts, and Quan Alexander were the 3 guys that were rotating in. None of these guys particularly played well. I thought Cole Holcomb was a big-time disappointment, particularly in pass coverage. He wasn't doing a good job filling his run fits either. Led to some really big runs by Christian McCaffrey. Landon Roberts, I thought, did good in the run game, in run defense, but he wasn't good in pass protection. And Quan Alexander was just kind of there. I didn't think he was too good or too bad either way. But overall, they need to communicate better, in my opinion. And I think that that's going to come as the season goes on. These guys are new to this system, right? They're new to playing with each other. They don't have that chemistry down just yet. But as the season goes on, I think the Steelers defense is going to be just fine. Then my 4th takeaway here, the Steelers offensive line concerns are back and hopefully not to stay. I mean, I was very disappointed with the way that certain players played in week 1, particularly Isaac Seumalo, who on 1 rep lost so bad that the person that beat him thought that he was going out on a screen. He beat him so quickly and so badly. It was that bad. He literally stopped to go back to defend a screen because he beat him that early and that quickly. That cannot happen for somebody that you bring in to be that veteran presence at left guard. Dan Moore Jr. was the lowest graded left tackle in football for the first week of the season, and that's saying something. And then also, just nobody else really stood out as a good performance on this offensive line, in my opinion. Couldn't do much at the line of scrimmage, couldn't win the run game battle with the defensive line of the San Francisco 49ers, couldn't protect Kenny Pickett, but I guess that's tough when the defense knows that you're passing the football. Final takeaway here. The offense needs to do a better job at getting the ball to George Pickens moving forward, plain simply. And this is on Matt Canada and Kenny Pickett. There was instances where Matt Canada had specific concepts drawn up for George Pickens, and Kenny just didn't give him the football. He had a wide open post early on in this game that Kenny Pickett just straight up ignored him on 3rd down. It was the 2nd drive of the game, I believe. He had him on a quarter post. It was quarters defense, which means you're throwing the frickin' post. If the middle field safety comes up, the safety came up. Pickett didn't throw the football. So, that's on Kenny Pickett and the decision-making and the mental processing. And there was multiple points in this game where George Pickens had the opportunity to get the ball thrown to him, and it didn't go to him. That can't happen, man. I know he had 5 catches last week. I know that he had a pretty decent performance, but it needs to be better. It needs to get to this guy more often because he's such a dynamic talent. And now with Deontay Johnson out of the lineup, I think George Pickens needs to be the star of the passing game here in order to make this thing work moving forward. If you want the Pittsburgh Steelers to feed George Pickens more heading into these next couple weeks without Deontay Johnson, spam 14 down there in the comments section. I know I want to see more George Pickens. If you do as well, get those 14s down there in the comments section. That'll be it for me today, guys. Really do appreciate all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button and join us for our Week 2 watch party on Monday Night Football this week, starting at 7 p.m. I will see you guys later, and until next time, here we go, Steelers.